Genndy Tartakovsky is a very respected and admired animator. He created Samurai Jack, Dexter's Laboratory, The Clone Wars. However, I believe there's one true piece of art in Tartakovsky's library that is tragically shoved aside and frankly disrespected. Hotel Transylvania is Tartakovsky's first foray into CG animation, and yet he managed to create something that was visually unlike any other CG animated movie then, and frankly now. But how did he do it? And what makes Hotel Transylvania, in my opinion, so friggin' special? Remember when you were a kid and you played with your toys? You'd come up with these crazy scenarios to put them in, anything your imagination could really come up with. But when you were coming up with these stories, you were restrained. You couldn't change what your toys inherently were. If you had an Optimus Prime, that's what he was. All you could do was manipulate them and make them do what you wanted them. And that's a lot like how CG animated movies are made. The animators have a set model that they use to create the movie that for the most part doesn't change. No matter what the character is feeling or doing, their general shape stays consistent. Mike Wazowski is a circle, Shrek is a rectangle. The characters are rigid. But just like playing with our toys as kids, we still love them. A lot of super popular animated movies are done this way. However, cartoons are the complete opposite of this. These movies are all about exaggeration. The characters are always changing depending on what they're experiencing or feeling. The characters' shapes can change with their emotions. In Hotel Transylvania, when Drac is sad, he shrinks into a ball. When he's mad, he can take up almost the whole screen. They can squash and stretch and don't really seem to follow any sort of rules. The animators aren't tied to a pre-made model, so they're free to do with the characters what their imagination can think up. This causes the characters to be much more expressive, which leans itself into comedy perfectly. In Hotel Transylvania, the jokes are elevated because of the pure ridiculousness of the visuals. There's just as many visual gags as there are spoken. Usually, cartoons are more so represented in 2D animation, which is what makes Hotel Transylvania so special. Tartakovsky really wanted to push what CG animation was doing at the time and remind people of the joy of old-fashioned 2D animation. He wanted his team to look at this movie in a way they haven't before. Hotel Transylvania isn't meant to be some deep movie. It doesn't want to dive into the human psyche or deconstruct what it means to be a superhero. It has one simple goal, just to be fun. In an interview about the movie, Tartakovsky said, "It wasn't Lion King, which is almost Shakespearean. I thought, wouldn't it be great to do a movie that has a really broad comedy feel? There aren't a lot of animated movies like that." And he's right. So many animated movies want to try and answer some big question or want to teach an important lesson. Does Hotel Transylvania have a message to it? Of course. But the plot is not the focus and in fact even takes a back seat in favor of some good jokes. I would compare Hotel Transylvania a lot to Looney Tunes. You have a large cast of characters, all with unique and funny personalities. You put all those characters in a big old pot, stir them around, and you got yourself a classic comedy stew. And honestly, what group of celebrities seems to have more fun making a movie than Adam Sandler and his boys? That's literally just what their career is at this point. And it's sick, it's fun to watch. You know, they're all monsters. What's not to enjoy? Tartakovsky achieved exactly what he wanted with Hotel Transylvania, and that deserves respect in and of itself, whether or not you like the movie. I don't think there's any reason more cartoony, stylistic movies like this should be seen as any less compared to other movies. Not everything needs to be deep and moving, and we need to stop discrediting movies just because they're goofy and have fun. Tartakovsky has proved that CG animated movies belong on a spectrum, and both ends of the spectrum can be just as successful as the other. Tartakovsky is an animation genius. Anything he does, I recommend watching. With that being said, Sony, let him make his Popeye movie, please.